joining us. It's Saturday, and I'm glad to say it is a sunny day in Phuket. And that's in comparison to yesterday morning, even though actually yesterday ended up being quite a nice day. Yesterday morning I was driving to the airport around about 6:30 in the morning, and as I got further north up the island, it started teeming down with rain. I mean, I'm talking torrential downpour. It absolutely bucketed down, such that there were places we couldn't get through. So we had to sort of go down the other side of the road. Everybody was doing the same thing. It was a mess. Drivers just had enough initiative just to sort of sort it out on themselves. The police obviously weren't up that time of the day. And there were places where the water was, and you can probably see some of the photos in the media, the water was up almost to the roof line of some cars that got stuck in the some of the low-lying areas. But some areas, including the airport, parts of the airport were flooded as well. So that was yesterday. But a beautiful morning today, and probably a bit of rain coming a bit later. Something very serious going on over there. They've got the documents out. Hope it's all okay. Anyway, let's go down and have a sit and a chat. I've got some questions that you sent me yesterday or last night, which I will be addressing. And also, I'm sure during the program there'll be plenty of other questions that will come up, which we'll address as well. By the way, thank you very much for your support of Tim Newton today over the past 3 weeks. Yesterday was the 15th show of TNT. Today is our third version of the, what do we call the sort of the, I don't know what you call it, the daily show, the live show. Yes, the live show. So really good to have you with us. Let's get sort of aligned here. Get comfortable, you get comfortable, get a coffee, let's sit down and we'll do some work, okay? Now, part of the things I want to have a talk to you about today is the new long-term resident visa. I'm sure a lot of you would be aware of this. And there's also some other things happening in regards to visas that we need to discuss, and also a bit of conjecture. Now, I should also address this. Oh, to Transparent Media Truth, how do we send Tim questions? Well, I posted yesterday in the community section. If you want to forward a question, do so. But Transparent Media Truth, if you do have a question now or a comment, put the word question or comment in capitals ahead of your comment or question, and it'll allow me to see it during the program. And if I can, I'll do my best to get around to it. I can't possibly get to everybody's comments or questions. It's hard enough stringing 2 intelligent words together, let alone reading your comments. You see, you can't do everything at once. Now, let's talk about this. Since I sort of became slightly infamous for these outrageous Songkran or Hawaiian shirts, whatever you want to call them, it's not something that I really nurtured or I wanted. It just became a thing. So I ended up with about 20 of these shirts. Some people sent them. I bought a lot of them, most of them. So what happened is, now that I'm not at that other place and I'm doing my own thing, this is not really me. I don't usually wander around in loud Hawaiian shirts. I never really used to own any. So I'm purging myself. Now, I thought what I'll do is I'll get a, what do they call those things? A krathong. I'll get a big krathong and I'll float the 20 shirts out onto the water and we'll burn them. And that'll be the purge. But I thought, no, that's probably not a good look. There was one YouTuber who exploded a motorbike and got a lot of hate out of that. I thought it was quite humorous at the time, and I knew his intentions, but a lot of people took a lot of offence at that, saying, well, you could have donated it to a family or something. So that's okay, but I don't want to get any hate. So I found a great thing to do with these shirts. I'll do a video about it next week, and it's a delightful story, and it'll be good to see these shirts, which probably make me look like a 70-year-old pedophile. It'll put them to good use in the future. Okay, let's just say a quick hello to people. Hello to Neil and Teddy, Reg, Polar Attack, AJF, all the way from Airlie Beach, certainly one of my favourite parts of the world. Mr. Darcy, Dave Stewart, Dam 1. We don't have PG Santa yet. Might be a good thing. Stefan, Geo H, Tim Shaw, hello, all the way from rainy Sydney. Alex, Larry, Robbo, Mango Sticky Rice, I've got a question addressing to you as well. Carletto, got a question, and we'll address that one first, seeing it's just popped up. Flying through Tokyo, Japan, then to Bangkok, do you still need a rapid PCR test when stopping in Tokyo? I know before, but how are things now in September? If you're in transit, you don't need to do any testing. And if you are coming to Thailand, when you arrive here, you are required to have either a vaccination certificate or negative PCR or professionally conducted ATK test before you get on the plane. That is part of your entry into Thailand. But as far as going through Tokyo in Japan, if you're going in transit, you won't be required to do any testing there at all. At the moment, they're still requiring either proof of a negative PCR or ATK test or your vaccination certificates to get into Thailand at the moment. A lot of people, they'll be checked at the check-in, and some airlines are also requiring that. So you really need to do your homework when you're finding that information out at the moment. Question, why not call your channel Newton's Law of Gravitas instead of rather overcooked TNT, says Frank. Overcooked? Well, the thing is, it's not really called TNT, that's just the logo. The channel's called Tim Newton Today. When I was setting it up, knowing YouTube and knowing you, you were probably going to be searching for my name. So it was going to be Tim Newton Thailand, but then I thought, no, that's probably going to tie me into just Thailand, and that's what YouTube will sort of pigeonhole me as. So I made it Tim Newton Today to keep the opportunities more open, and I am doing increasingly more regional coverage and might even have a separate program each day which covers regional stories rather than just Thailand. So there was reason and logic behind naming it Tim Newton Today. The TNT is just a logo. That could change. If Ted Turner wants to chase me about that, he's well entitled to. I'm not registered the name or the logo here in Thailand. Neither has Ted Turner. Okay, so Tim, did the very successful style of vlogs by Dr. John Campbell have any influence on your very impressive new TNT channel? No. I watched John Campbell quite often when there were topics that I was interested in or needed to get some information on. But no, I don't know. Do I look like John Campbell or sound like John Campbell or act like him? No, it was a fairly relaxed style, sitting down. This, of course, is quite different. Oh, I know what you're alluding to, the way that he sort of ticks and crosses and circles things. Okay, I might have been slightly influenced by that. He does it in a very live manner with a camera and pieces of paper. I've been trying to find a way of doing it digitally on an iPad. I haven't quite found a way of doing it live, but I am working on that. But I see what you mean. To the other questions that came in yesterday, let's get to those. Hi, Tim. This is from Evan Music, 2009. I get the impression that you are relatively affluent and hence can afford the nice house and lifestyle in Thailand for semi-retirement. I'm not in semi-retirement. I'm not in any retirement. I'm working hard. I wonder how much cash you would expect someone to require to live a simple life there as an expat. Living in Australia myself, I did buy a cheap condo there, but considering ongoing visa costs, medical insurance, owning, maintaining a vehicle, and general living costs, whilst cheaper than here, being Australia, I can imagine savings would disappear fairly quickly. Okay. This is a real how long is a piece of string sort of question. I'll give you my impressions. I'm actually going to do a full video about this. In fact, a series of videos about cost of living and retirement here in Thailand. And depending on who you speak to, you can get many different answers. And that's a good thing. There are many different ways to retire here or live here long term. Some will suit some people and some will suit others. I'm going to give you my impressions, And I always seem to get an itchy nose when I'm talking to you. I'm sorry. It's a big nose and it does get itchy. Excuse me. I'm back. If anybody's watching over there, could you bring me a glass of water? Okay, so when I retire, 4, 5, 10 years ahead, at today's costs, I was saying I'm probably going to need 50,000 baht per month to live here in Thailand. And my intention at the moment is to live out my days here in Thailand. So at today's costs, and I'd have to sort of include inflation with this as the years go, but I'd be saying about 50,000 baht per month. You could probably manage on 30,000 baht per month if you ate local Thai food, you stay out of the touristy areas, you drive your own motorbike, you rent a humble room for say less than 10,000 a month. You can even get a small house in many, many places in Thailand, even a nice house for 10,000 baht a month with a bit of a garden. And if you limit your nights out to, say, a couple of times a week, you could probably manage on 30,000 baht per month. For me, here are some of my current costs. I pay 23,000 baht to rent quite a big house with a big garden in a nice area in Phuket. I don't have a sea view. I'm not in Kamala or Patong or along the west coast, but it's a nice area, very secure. It's a secure gated community. I pay about 12,000 baht a month for food. I do eat locally at least half the time. I pay about 2,000 baht for petrol for my car and motorbike. I do ride both at least every day. Health insurance, if I amortise that over a year, that's about 3,500 per month to have private health insurance. I need health insurance. Well, you absolutely have to have health insurance. You're mad if you're living here without it, unless you want to save a whole lot of money and put that aside and then pay for your own health costs at either a private or a public hospital. That could be another way of doing it, but you do need some pool of money. I've got a 45,000 baht per year private health insurance coverage, and that's not the best I can get, but it covers me for all the important stuff. If I have an accident, paid enough for them to scrape me off the road and take me to a good hospital. About 1,500 for utilities. That's power, water, internet, mobile phone, and I've even included Netflix in that. Almost an essential these days. 1,500 for utilities. I'm looking at a list here. 2,200 per month for car insurance was $1,500 a month. Utilities is 2,200 a month. Registration and fees, registration for the bikes, the car, amortised over a year, that comes out to about 1,000 baht per month. So there's some of my costs. Everybody's costs are going to be different. As I said, if you want to be comfortable here, you're probably going to need 80,000 baht a month so you could live somewhere really nice, have a good standard of living, a few nights out, and a nice house to rent. That includes a rental cost, by the way. So I'm paying 23,000 for a nice home. You can get away with 10,000 or less. If you start getting less than 10,000 in nice areas, you're going to be ending up with a room, probably with an air conditioner, in a big block of flats or a condo. So yeah, you're not going to be living in a nice sprawling home with a pool. So hopefully that answers some of your questions. Quivering Moist. Hey Tim, so glad you're back on YouTube with your show. I'm moving to Thailand in October. Interested in working in the bar and restaurant scene. With 20 years experience as a chef and 10 years of management experience, what do you think the chances are I'll find work outside of Bangkok? And what areas would be the best for me to find those jobs? I love your content. Thank you very much, Quivering Moist. Interesting name. Hospitality. You're going to have to be in the hospitality industry, obviously, with those skills. And to get a work permit, you're going to have to be earning more than 50,000 baht per month paid by the employer. So you're going to have to be in the management area, managing a bar, managing a restaurant, head chef, or something like that. To get a visa, a B visa, and a work permit. You're going to have to be sponsored by a company, and you're going to have have a pay of at least 50,000 baht per month to get your work permit. There's a bit of variation on that depending on which country you come from and which areas you're working. But again, you're going to have to work in Pattaya, Phuket, Bangkok, Chiang Mai. You're going to have to work in the major areas where the bigger restaurants and hotels are, so that you have a better chance of finding a job. You won't be able to go and work as a waiter in a bar or as a chef in a Thai restaurant, because those people won't be paying those wages. They'll be paying a chef 15, 20,000 baht a month for a local Thai chef in their small Thai restaurant. So that's just my thoughts on that. Giulio Alberto Gelfi. Hi, Tim. Sorry, should have spent more time on that. I'll be visiting Thailand in November, and I would like to ask if the Australian banknotes are accepted or not for exchange purposes. Do you get the same amount of Thai baht for the older ones? Thank you in advance. Love your show. So, yes, there's no problem if you bring Australian banknotes, no matter if they're old or new, as long as they're in good condition. You'll get, I think, about 25 baht to the Australian dollar at the moment. If you've got a really old, say, $1 note, and it's in good condition, that'd be worth a lot of money now, because they got rid of $1 notes 20 years ago. So, yeah, don't bring that to Thailand. Take that to a dealer who deals in banknotes and get what you'd be earning. But yes, Australian banknotes, no problem here in Thailand. Mango sticky rice, good morning. First of all, congrats on your own channel. The question I have is, if you were to start up a new business in Phuket, what would it be and why? Okay, so given that you're a foreigner, what can you do? You can't do certain things in Thailand. You can't run certain businesses because they're reserved for Thais. You can set up a company, but of course a company in Thailand, unless it's a Board of Investment, BOI company, will be 51% owned by Thai shareholders and only 49% by you or your interests. So I probably, if we're talking low-level stuff, I'd be looking at an e-commerce, running something online, find a niche, find a product that people are buying, a product that people need, other foreigners, because there's a lot of Thai people doing e-commerce already for Thai people. So I'd be finding a niche perhaps that you understand and you can work in. I, for example, thought, you're welcome to do this because I just don't have time, I was going to find all those fantastic artworks that you see all over the place. There are shops in all the touristy areas where they're doing the sort of paint by numbers, the Buddha images and the seaside and the landscapes, and they're all sort of done in one or two places, and then they take them to the shops and they have an easel out the front, and when somebody's coming along they start doing a few brush strokes, but they're not painting them there at those shops. They're done in a big factory, and they're sort of done, some of them look spectacular, and some of them are copies, blah, blah, blah. But I thought it'd be great to be able to either have a relationship or a consignment relationship with somebody, and to sell those online to foreigners who maybe can't get here but would like to be able to get some of those magnificent paintings that you can roll up in a tube and send quite cheaply out of the country, and you could sell those online. But I'd be doing some sort of online sales, because you can do that at home. You can probably do it a bit under the radar, and it would be very low cost to run that. You don't need a retail shop front. Who the hell wants to do retail anymore? That must be such a hard business. There must be thousands of comments about all my answers on this, so I'll get to those soon. Yeah, the other thing would be perhaps finding a niche product for people looking to retire, because I think there's going to be a lot more retirees coming to the country, and we'll get to the long-term resident visa information soon. George Brooks says the various videos you produced showing condos were very informational. I don't think that's me. I think you're talking about Jet, who did those condo videos. Most kitchens had a washer. From the looks of them, they were for laundry, not dishes. Yeah, they're not really into dishwashers here. I used to love my dishwasher at home. I've now got a dishwasher. I pay them 15,000 baht a month. Why isn't there a dryer? Do you air dry clothing on the little balcony? Best wishes and thanks. I've never seen a clothes dryer in Thailand. I'm sure some people have them. Why would you need one? Things dry very, very quickly here, despite the humidity. Yeah, I just put clothes out on a clothes air and they're dry within a couple of hours. I'll put them out in the sun and they'll dry in less than that. So yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of clothes dryers in Thailand. Unless you're in Chiang Mai for about 2 months of the year, it's usually hot enough to cook your clothes without needing a dryer. ZenTube, hi Tim. Did you or do you own stocks of the Tiger? I was surprised to see the founder leave so early, but was glad to see you start your own channel. Yes, I still have stocks in the Tiger. I was there for 6 years, so I'm not sure if that's early. But yes, for transparency purposes, I still have stocks in that particular business. Master Yan, there's no chance I'll be up by 9. Have a great show, thank you. Peter E, question. Hi Tim, a local question. Are the major shopping malls open, including Jung Silon in Patong? Thanks for a great program. No, Jung Silon and Central over the road in Patong on Rattutit Road are currently closed. They're both looking at reopening soon. Things are slowly reopening in Patong. If you go to the beach road or the second road, Rattutit, a lot of it's open and it's vibing, and Bangla Road's all up and going, but it's not the Patong you may remember from 3 or 4 years ago. If you go back to the 3rd Street and the 4th Street, still the vast majority of businesses are closed. So it's a long recovery in that regard. Let's go to some of your comments about my comments, and I'll just backtrack a bit here and see what we can find. Good morning, Tim. Morning from Manly Beach. I did that. Hello from Jaco, Costa Rica, eating shrimp on the beach. That sounds magnificent. One of the pleasures I had each day, I used to do a lot of sailing in my younger years, a lot of sailing and a lot of very expensive boats. Anyway, we used to get a kilo of prawns for the crew and some dipping sauce, like a tartare and like a Thousand Island, and we'd get some beer and soft drinks, and we'd just sit on the back of the boat just peeling the prawns. Oh, heaven, because there used to be local shrimp boats or prawn boats just coming straight to the pier next to where we were tied up. So yeah, good morning to you. Stephen J.L. Austin, good morning, Thailand. I360 City, hey Tim, channel name is great. We hope to see more of you, AC/DC had no influence on the name TNT then, says John Bradell. Well, probably, maybe. I thought when I came, Tim Newton today, oh, that's TNT. So I didn't think of TNT first and then try and find some words to put to it. I had the name and then just realised it's spelled TNT. But the name of the program is Tim Newton Today. The logo is just TNT because it's going to be hard to fit in Tim Newton Today in a logo. Yeah, I did think of using a bit of the music from TNT. Great piece of music, by the way. But no, I don't want to get in any copyright problems. No, I don't have any music on the program just because of that noise. You're going to be okay, Tim. Ted Turner sold his interest years ago. I met Ted Turner back in 1983 in Newport, Rhode Island, when I was there reporting for the Macquarie Network back in Australia for the 1983 America's Cup, which we won, by the way. Way to go, Tim. This is the way to do it. Setter Premier David Benjamin. Thank you. Michael Spigarolo. Rain. Is it raining at your location, Tim? As hard as it's here in Patong, it's belting down here. Michael, it's, well, actually, it's starting to cloud over. It was sunny 10 minutes ago, but yes, we are going to have some rain today, and I think it will be short-lived. I saw a band of rain heading towards Phuket, but I think it'll be clear after that, Michael. Morning from Nong Wasu, Thailand. Big rain today. Bruce Robinson, Tim, the exchange rate Australia to Thailand is an issue. Used to be 31 Thai baht, now 24.5. It got down to about 21 at its worst, which was, I think, sometime about a year or 18 months ago. But yeah, 24.5 today. And look, when you're here, you're going to have to shop around for the best exchange rate if you are exchanging foreign currency. Dam1 reply, thanks for the answer, Tim. Both yourself and Dr. JC are exceptional with your clear, precise news. I don't know Dr. JC, I'll have to check. Oh, John Campbell. Do you miss Jay, Natty and Jet, says Frank Weston. Look, I'm still in contact with a limited few people. I've got things to do, they've got things to do. We worked together, but we didn't necessarily go out and spend time together. They were workmates, they weren't necessarily people that I would have gone out of my way with or necessarily called close friends. But I do keep in contact with a few people there, and hopefully they will remain friends in the future. But again, when you're working with people, when you're not working with them, some people you keep in contact with and some you don't. It's not a negative thing, it's just, I have always had a fairly small group of friends, and the bigger your circle of friends, the more time you need to spend, because friends deserve your time. I don't have a lot of time, but I have some really good friends who are people that I can call on if I need to, and whose company I thoroughly enjoy. Not sure if I answered that. Okay, I can't move to Thailand permanently because my mail would pile up, says M. Maranta. Stefan with a comment, cost of living depends largely on lifestyle. I surely pay already 1,000 baht plus a month for the simple cheese I like. Yes, cheese is not necessarily cheap here in Thailand. As we speak, it's just started raining here at Boat Lagoon in Phuket. M. Maranta, $100 a month for health insurance is cheap. How much do you spend on wine and cheese, asks Jason Finch. I don't drink wine. I don't drink any alcohol at all. I never have. I do get a bit of cheese. I like the good cheap, like Bega cheese from Australia. I like the extra tasty. I'm not really into the really exotic cheeses, mainly because they're expensive. If I go to a function and they're on offer, I might go to town on the cheese for a while, but no, I usually will sneak a block of cheese home and hide it somewhere. Eat it. Very selfish with my cheese. My darling wife Rung says she loves you. Well, thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank, and thank you, Rung. Nice to have you with us. 45,000 for health insurance at 70. Please inform. Well, I'm not 70. Give me a few years. I'll be 70 in 7 years, and I don't know what my health insurance hasn't changed the price for the past 6 years. It's been the same policy, and if I keep that particular policy, I can keep that for the rest of my life. That was one of the conditions of the policy. Now, if you start a health policy later, or you change, then you are in a situation where you may lose that insurance once you get to 70 or 75 or 80, depending on the policy. But this policy, I can keep for my life. And I haven't claimed once on it yet. So the best health insurance you can have, by far, is live a healthy lifestyle. If I can't give any other advice to anybody anytime, look after your health. If you don't, and if you're then relying on health insurance to sort of, dig you out of a hole, you're just misthinking the whole reason for living. So if you do live a healthy lifestyle, that is by far the best health insurance you could possibly have. There are ways to get good wine for little less. My fridge is full. Good on you, Stefan. Tim, 80,000 baht a month is $3,300, 3,300 US, Oz a month. Sorry, Bruce. 3,333 Australian dollars a month. Well, yeah, If you had that, you'd be living a very nice lifestyle in most parts of Thailand. Okay, you're not going to be living in a penthouse, you're not going to be living on the beach, but you're going to live a very comfortable lifestyle for 80,000 baht a month. Know if there's been any flooding in Patong. I think it's happening right now. It's a pretty solid lot of showers coming down now, and it rained lightly, but it rained most of the night here in Phuket. But I don't know if there's flooding as such. I don't think we're going to see major floods today. That was yesterday in Thailand. Oh my God, that was really torrential. Question from Frank Weston. I'm recently retired, but now it seems that Thai society only wants rich people. Would we get by on 3,000 euros a month? 3,000 euros a month is more than 3,300 Oz a month. Yes, you'd get by quite comfortably, I would have thought, on 3,000 euro a month. Big Wade Day. Big Way Day. 1,000 no way, not living, barely surviving, one unexpected expense from returning home with tail between your legs. 1,000 to 30,000. You could live. You can live for 30,000 baht a month. You won't live a lavish lifestyle, but you'll be in a room with air conditioning and you'll eat 3 meals a day. That'll be Thai food. You won't be eating egg and bacon at a local foreign restaurant, but you could get by if you need to. Greetings from Chicago. Hi, Scott D. Nice to have you with us. Hello, Comrade Tim Newton, says Agent M. Martz. Yes, clean notes essential here in Thailand. They do like their clean notes. More so in Myanmar and Cambodia. They're insistent on crisp, unfolded notes. Fatboy Slim, top man Tim, always informative from the UK. Good morning to the UK. E-commerce sites require Thai citizen and their accounts most of the time. There are ways around that, even Facebook and stuff. The problem is, and I'm having this problem with Google and AdSense, that my site is registered here in Thailand. And my AdSense account's registered here in Thailand, but my ID, of course, a passport from Australia, they won't accept. So yeah, look, there are ways and means, and I will find ways and means of getting my ID verified, but when you are a foreigner operating a business in a foreign country, it can be difficult, but there are ways and means around everything. We follow you religiously with a few drinks close at hand. I think you might need them from time to time. Mango sticky rice, thank you Tim, my pleasure. Frank Weston, I appreciate your directness and that's why we've followed you closely. I try and tell you exactly what I mean and what I'm trying to say. I don't try and fudge around, well, I don't have to. I don't have a brand and other people I need to worry about. I can just speak from the heart. And if you like it, that's great. If you don't like it, well, that's fine too. Stefan, ha ha ha, we have the same dishwasher, 15K a month, cleans the house and does the laundry too. Really multi-purpose. Yeah, I have a person working part-time just doing the housework because the more time that I can focus on doing stuff that is going to bring me income and help me research and provide information for you, the better it is for me. And I can get somebody much more qualified to do some of those homebound tasks. I do mow the lawn, I like doing the gardening, I like doing a few renovations and maintenance around the house. I suppose just, proving that I'm an Australian man. But yeah, just as far as the dishes and washing and cleaning around the house, there are people who do that better and I'm happy to have them around the house as company from time to time. Tim is a tiger, says Ian McNamee. Might have missed it. Have you talked about new long-term resident visa? Okay, Tycoon, let's do that. Dam1 says £1,000 a month budget in Thailand can be met comfortably if smart. Again, you are not going to be living as a sultan in a palace. You're going to be in a small room or condo. You can get a nice 32 square metre condo. It's going to have a separate kitchen, bathroom, bedroom. They're small, they're compact, They'll be in a big block, but you can get those for 7,000 or 8,000 baht a month at the moment in nice areas. Not in the centre of Bangkok, not in Patong, but a couple of kilometres away, and you'll find that sort of rent. The new long-term resident visa is now in play, and it's going to be good if you've got the money to pay for it. Here are some of the guidelines. You're going to have to be a wealthy global citizen. You're going to need at least US 1 million in assets, personal income of a minimum of 80,000 a year US in the past 2 years, and an investment of at least US 500,000 US dollars in Thai government bonds, foreign direct investment, or Thai property. As a wealthy pensioner, you're going to have personal income of at least US 80,000 a year at the time of application. In case of personal income below 80,000, but no less than 40,000 a year, applicants must invest at least US 250,000 US in government bonds, direct investment, or Thai property. I'm reading this off a site. I'll put that site in a link in the description. I can't do that until the show is finished, but it is asq.in.th. I'll read that again. Write it down. Got the pencil? Paper? asq.in.th. All the information is there about the new long-term resident visas, which allow you to stay in Thailand for up to 10 years, sort of 5 plus 5 actually, but a total of 10 years. Imagine they're renewable for a new one. In 10 years, they'll have a totally different system. Also, you can be a work from Thailand professional. Do I hear somebody saying digital nomad? What do they call them? Working nomad? People who, digital nomad. Is that what they're called? People who, do stocks and shares and write and stuff, get paid from outside. In case of personal income below US 80,000 a year, but no less than 40,000 a year in the past 2 years, applicants must have a master's degree or above, or own intellectual property, or receive Series A funding. I don't know what Series A funding is. Or you can be a highly skilled professional with a personal income of a minimum of $80,000 a year in the past 2 years. So they're the 4 different types of wealthy foreigners that they're looking to attract. So these long-term resident visas are not for most of us. They're for people who have either accumulated some wealth or are already earning good money and can work here in Thailand. So you've got this, the new long-term resident visa. You've got the smart visa. You've also got it's not called the retirement visa, but I'll use the nickname retirement visa, also known as the geezer visa. I think better known as an OA visa. And that has a different requirement, but you can't work with a retirement visa. There's another one which is the elite program, and that starts at around 18,000 US per month. And for that you can stay for 5 years. There's also a 10-year elite visa and a 20-year elite visa. With those, at the moment, you currently can't work, but it's pretty much a trouble-free time here in Thailand. So you can buy your way into a long-term stay in Thailand. But again, if you want to read about those new long-term resident visas, the website is asq.in.th. Okay, and I'll put that link in the description after the program. Hope that helps. Tim, did they elaborate on intellectual property? No, they didn't, but they might on that website. I don't exactly know what that means either. Probably you're going to have to own shares or something in a company that has got a stake in some intellectual property. I don't know. Sorry, KJ. Big Way Dave. O and OA visas, which are the retirement visas, require 65,000 baht transferred from abroad into a Thai bank account every single month. No exceptions. That works out to roughly 1,800 US dollars. Okay, when it comes to the O and OA visas, there are currently, I think it's what, an 800,000 baht a month, 800,000 baht a year. I can't remember the numbers. There's so many numbers to remember. But whatever the requirement is, they're now policing it. It actually was a requirement before, like for the past 10 years, but they're now enforcing it. That's the big change that happened about, 3 or 4 years ago. They started enforcing the exact requirements of the O and the OA visa. Now, if you don't fulfill the requirements precisely of an O or an OA visa, I would recommend that you call in the services of a qualified, professional, reliable, trustworthy visa agent. There are many of them. They have a relationship with immigration, and in most cases they can find ways around some of those requirements. You do need to be careful. Make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's. But some of those requirements set in stone, if you go and speak to a visa agent, there are sometimes other ways to get around those and fulfill the requirements. And each visa agent will look at each person and their situation and work out the best way to approach immigration. So whilst things are set in stone, there is always a little bit of wriggle room, and individual immigration officials on certain days of the week, and depending who you speak to and depending where the sun is in the sky, may waive certain parts of those requirements. Just the way it works in Thailand. Transparent media truth, but then not allowed to work on retirement visa. That's correct. You can't work on a retirement. That's an O or an OA visa. Bruce Robinson, 800,000 Thai baht in the Thai bank for over 6 months and receiving 65,000 Thai baht a month income. I think that's right. Da Tem, Tim, how do you stay motivated to continue your YouTube channel? Could you do a review about your new car? Okay, I have no problems being motivated. Somebody in another one of these questions, I'll get back to the people that sent me the questions yesterday, but somebody, where was it? I'll get to those. But they were suggesting that I'm, affluent. Well, I'm not affluent. I don't have a lot of money in my bank account. I have to work. What I'm doing today is work. And it's not that I don't enjoy it. I actually love doing it. But the motivation is that I need to eat. I need to feed the cats. I need to wake up tomorrow and assume that I'm going to be able to eat 3 meals on the day. I'm going to get that phone in a moment and throw it in the water if it goes off once again. Anyway, so I don't actually have any problems with being motivated. I'm a bit of a news whore. I really enjoy the news. I enjoy trying to sort of look behind the headlines and go, I know what they're talking about. And I try and bring that perspective to you. That's, I suppose, my niche. That's what I do. But I don't have any problems being motivated, but my motivation really is I need to work and I need to put some money aside for my retirement at some stage. So it's not as if I'm affluent and I've got a lot of money to sit on. Even the shares I may have in the company I used to work with, there's no guarantee that I'm going to get a payout from that. Hopefully I will. Hopefully it'll do amazingly well, but there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees on anything, but I can't assume the Australian government's going to bail me out. No, they're not. I won't get any retirement money from the Australian government at all. So everything I'm doing is to look after myself and number one, and the cats. That's what I have to do. So I wake up each day, I'm motivated by the need to survive. Pretty simple, really. Hi Tim, how goes it, mate? Says Dino J. Where in Phuket would you recommend someone to buy a condo in Phuket, the best place for the best price? There's plenty of them available at the moment. Sorry, hitting the table and wobbling the camera. There is a lot of property available, not only in Phuket, especially in Phuket actually, but there's plenty of property available just about anywhere around Thailand. Personally, I wouldn't recommend buying a condo. because you don't really own the land, you only own title to the property, and it just requires more maintenance each year. Rent is cheap here in Thailand. If you're going to stay here, at least for the first couple of years, I would warmly recommend that you rent a property. It gives you more flexibility, keeps your costs down, keeps your capital free, and lets you have some time to do some real homework and decide where you'd like to live. You could rent 6 months here, 6 months there, go to Pattaya, spend 6 months there, go to Chiang Mai. Gives you a lot more flexibility to look around. When it comes to villas and things, then you've got to look at the fact that if you buy a villa or a landed property, you're not going to own the land, as the current laws in Thailand cover. So you need to have a good long think about how you're going to get some tenure over that property. You won't own it. You could set up a company, and that could own it, a Thai company, but you'll only ever own 49% of that company. There's a lot of information on the internet about ownership of land and condos in Thailand. Yes, you can 100% own a condo, but personally, I wouldn't recommend it. I'd be suggesting that you look at renting for at least a time when you first arrive here in Thailand. Some people arrived who are sitting directly across from me. I don't think they know that I'm doing a program. I think they have now. Okay, question. We are over there from the 20th of October to the 20th of December, says Frank Weston. So with a 45-day visa exemption from the 1st of October, how should I approach the remaining days of overstay? Okay, from the 1st of October, if you are from 64 countries that are able to participate in the visa exemption program, you'll be able to arrive in Thailand and have a stamp for 45 days, increased from a previous 30 days. At the moment, it has not been announced what the length of the extension will be, whether it'll be 30 days or another 45 days. I think you can safely assume that from the 1st of October, if you arrive on a 45-day visa exemption, that you'll be able to apply for a additional at least 30 days. So what's that? 75 days guaranteed if you're from one of those 64 countries. I will put a link in the description, if I remember, for a list of those countries. And there are also countries that you were coming in on a visa on arrival, and previously you got 15 days, and in the future you'll be able to stay for 30 days, and you will also be able to apply for an additional 15 days after that 30 days on the visa on arrival program. So yeah, Frank, you can safely assume that you'll get 45 days plus 30. You'll have to apply for the 30 when you're here. You'll have to pop down to immigration, pay 1,900 baht, but you will get a further 30 days. That's pretty much guaranteed. Can't wait for the review on the H6. Yes, the new Haval H6. That'll be fun doing a review. And I can tell you some funny stories about that in the future. Question, have they decided extension to be 45 days? No, they haven't, Alex. I've been looking for that over the past week, and even the TAT did an official announcement of the 45 days visa exemption program, but they didn't say anything about what the extension was going to be. You can safely assume it's going to be 30 days. I don't think it'll be 45 days, but I don't know yet. I don't think they do. Club Fillers Inc. Do you need anyone to hand out flyers for your business? You'd need a work permit to do that, and probably a job that could only be done by a Thai. No, I don't need any help handing out flyers, but thanks for the offer. Dark Brother, what is Thai government's relationship with the Myanmar junta? I don't believe there is any relationship between the Thai military and the Burmese military beyond the fact that they are military and that there is some sort of perceived brotherhood behind those sort of people. But no, there's no financial links as far as I've been able to ascertain over the past 11 years. There's no tacit support from the Thai government to what's going on in Burma at the moment. But at the same time, the Thai government would be in a very difficult position to condemn what's happening there, given that they are in a roundabout way a sort of military government. Nothing like what's going on in Myanmar, nothing like that at all. I mean, that is, they're going out and actually shooting people and killing people and oppressing a rise up in a very brutal manner. That's never happened here in Thailand. Talking about the current regime, it has not been a brutal crackdown in the same sort of way. Yes, they have got out the water cannons at protests, but that happens in many other countries where governments decide to take on peaceful protesters with things like rubber batons and water cannons. None of that which I endorse, but it does happen in other countries. But certainly people aren't, they're not going down and tracking down people and shooting them like they are in Myanmar. I don't believe there are any financial or close links between the Thai military and the Burmese military, as far as I know. Mr. Newton, do you miss living in Bangkok? Do you maintain a residence there? Yeah, actually, I've got a rented property there for another 3 months. After that, I won't renew it unless I have a reason to be in Bangkok. I'll still go to Bangkok occasionally, nothing like I used to. I used to be there every week, most of the week, and then only every weekend or so down here at my home in Phuket. But no, I don't really miss Bangkok. It's a great city, it's a fantastic place. I am happier here with a quieter life. But Bangkok's a fabulous place to live, and you can live at large and have a lot of fun in a city like Bangkok. John the accountant, yep, that's possible a couple of times. They're responding to each other. 334 watching, but only 137 likes. Come on, guys. Yeah, Alex, thank you. Hit like, everyone. It's a great show. I'm going to go to some of the questions that came in yesterday. Some of those are left. God, I could really do with that glass of water. Kalisov, Alaska. What if someone has a trip booked with an airline for over 45 days with the intention of getting 45 days on arrival? I think I might have addressed that already, that you will, from October the 1st up till at least March the 31st next year, if you're one of those 64 countries with the visa exemption, you'll get an automatic 45 days when you arrive in Thailand, and at least a 30-day extension if you apply for it while you're here and you pay 1,900 baht. Yeah, when you get a check. No, after, yes. John Bradell, morning Tim, how do you break up work with play and what percentage do you put in per day? Why do they call orange jam marmalade? Well, to your first question, I work about 10 to 12 hours a day. I really love my work. It's not all in one stretch. I'm up at 6 o'clock. I'm usually straight into getting preparation for TNT, for the Tim Newton Today program. Then I might have a break for an hour or so, coffee, catch up with emails, maybe a coffee with friends. Then I'll do some more work. I've got a day job as well. I might spend an hour in the afternoon doing some work around the house or going shopping, or maybe a coffee, catch up with a friend. Then I might do another 2 or 3 hours near the end of the day. But usually 10 to 12 hour days, broken up a bit. Pretty much working by myself and enjoying the lifestyle. Why do they call orange jam marmalade? I've always known marmalade as marmalade. Where do they call it orange jam? Is that what they call it in the US? I don't know. But I've always known marmalade as marmalade. And I do enjoy a bit of marmalade. Klong Andy, hi Tim. What is the best thing? What is the best thing ever? Not exactly sure how to answer that. So I'd say when I was younger, the best thing ever was winning things. I was very competitive. I still am, but in a different way. I used to do a lot of sailing. I was very competitive, and winning was everything. Winning at work, making sure I was just the best at everything I did. I was very competitive. That was what was important to me. Now, when I was young, I say winning stuff. Middle age, I would say the best thing ever was the pursuit of a mate, of a partner, and securing a partnership in that was the most important thing that my culture thought it was important for me. Now, at my age, working, living, not retiring, loving life, I would say finding contentment and sort of happiness is the most important thing to me. And the best thing ever to me is having done a good day's work, having had some good results. I suppose that's the competitive side of me coming through. And with social media, it's very direct and happens very quickly. You get the feedback whether you've done a good show or not. You tell me if I've done a good show, I can see the numbers. So it's quite brutal. But if I've had a good day, a good show, written some good stories, had a few laughs, seen a few good YouTube clips, I might share some of my favourite YouTube channels with you next time too. And I can sit down, have a cup of tea or a soda and a slice of lemon at the end of the day, sit and look across my garden and think, yeah, I'm pretty lucky. That, to me, at this age, is the best thing ever. Francisco Mata says, hi Tim, can you talk about the dowry tradition in Thailand? I'll stop there saying I don't know anything about the dowry situation in Thailand. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Excuse me for just a moment. I don't know anything about the dowry system. I do know it's more important in some families than others. I also know that the younger generation have a slightly different perspective towards it, and it's a more negotiable situation than it may have been in past generations or past years, but I really don't know much about the actual costs or the cultural processes. Doug Mitchell asks 3 questions. Can you tell me what basic visa I need to open a bank account? Well, you probably need at least an O visa, a retirement visa, a management visa, a B visa, a business visa, and or a work permit. Different banks have different policies, but you'll need your passport and you'll need proof of a long-term visa to open a bank account in most cases. Can you explain why logic doesn't work in Thailand? Doug, logic is a very personal thing. What is logical to you may not be logical to other people. Thai culture has its own values and systems, and they can be different from what you may be used to, what you've grown up with. What may not be logical to you could be very logical to a Thai. They have a different cultural heritage. They haven't had Western colonisation, all that sort of influence during their history, like a lot of other Southeast Asian countries. So I wouldn't say that logic doesn't work here. I'd say that their logic is just different from your logic. And living here, you probably just have to accept some of those things and not get aggravated by it, not worry about it, learn from the experience and go, aha, something learnt for the day, and then take that as a win. Will you come and do a show from the best island, Koh Chang? Doug, I'd love to. Tell me when and I'll come over to Koh Chang. How would I get to Koh Chang? I have to sort of fly to Bangkok and about a 3-hour drive in a boat trip off Rayong, isn't it? I'd like to do that. I'd like to go to Koh Chang. I haven't been there yet, so thank you. Sa Ji, is the 45-day official from October the 4th? Yes, the 45-day automatic stamp for visa exemption program is official from October the 1st. You'll be able to extend that for 1,900 baht. Douglas Williams, Tim, I have a question. Do you have a girlfriend? If so, do you pay her a salary plus incidentals? Please be honest. I don't do personal questions. Do you pay her a salary and incidentals? Takis Mars, hi Tim, I would like to know what impact the recent retirement visa requirements have had on the country before anyone who was over 50 could just move to Thailand. It's not quite true, but I understand there were a lot of exemptions made. Now you must prove that you have at least Thai baht 800,000 in the bank, etc. Did this have the desired effect on driving a lot of the cheap Charlies out of the country? Yeah, it did. Probably even more so was the impact of COVID when it first happened. A lot of long-term expats did head home. A lot of them probably won't return. And yes, the Immigration Department are now policing the retirement visa, the O and OA visas, much more to the letter of the law than they used to. But as I said, if you are having problems and you come close and you want to get across the line, there are a lot of visa agents who will help you find ways to get around some of those rules. And a lot of the Immigration Department are much more flexible than you might think. You just have to find the right person on the right day. I know that sounds a bit wishy-washy, but that's just the way things are here in Thailand. When it talks to Thai logic, well, John says, can I spam the chat? Well, I tell you what, John, what I can do is I can block you. How do I do that? I can put the user in timeout. There we go. That's what I can do. Rent for the next year, plus watch as prices drop, pull the trigger in 3 years' time. Little Koh Chang or Big Koh Chang? There are two Koh Changs. I only know there's one Koh Chang. Thailand requires a total mindset shift, and many tourists and expats aren't willing or capable of doing that for a whole host of reasons. And Antonella, you're very correct. That's why many find living here hard or end up leaving. Living in Thailand is heaven for me, but a lot of people are not going to enjoy it, and a lot of people aren't going to have the flexibility of mind to let go of a lot of things that might drive you insane. Logic, as I said, is a very personal thing, and sometimes you just have to accept that Thai people do things differently. And I can promise you, they are not going to change their ways to suit you. You have to be a little bit flexible and understand where you are and just accept that some things are going to be done differently, no matter what you think. Even when it comes to things like corruption. In many ways, things that you call corruption in Thailand and Asia generally, a lot of people would call that business. So again, it's a perception thing. So I'll just leave that there. I stole Tim's girlfriend, but he'll never admit it. Wig alert. Did you? Really? Mr. Mitch, I'm travelling roughly 15 days a month, keep two places in Pattaya and Jomtien and struggle spending 3,000 US per month. Sounds like you've got it sorted out, Mr. Mitch. And indeed, if you can't live in Thailand relatively nicely for 3,000 US a month, you're not smart. You just got to sort of find out the local costs and the local places and you just got to live here for a while and get into the network and start thinking a bit like the Thais. How can I get this cheaper? Where can I get this? I mean, you can get a big plate of pad Thai or any other fresh Thai cooked food for 50 to 80,000, for 50 to 80 baht. And if you're paying 150 or 200 baht for the same meal, silly you. You're just not looking hard enough. How long have we been going? What's the time? Oh my God, we've been going for over an hour. I'll do 3 more questions, then I'm out of here, okay? I realise Thailand, this is from Amazing Thailand, I realise Thailand is not a democracy, but how will the new PM be elected? In my local city, all Thais were required to go to the polling station to vote for their governor. What will happen with the new PM? Well, PMs in many countries aren't voted for by the people. I understand in the UK, the British Prime Minister is voted in by a sort of the party membership, and they vote for a leader of a party, or if that party is in power, they will then have to gather to vote for a new Prime Minister. In Australia, the MPs of a winning party will vote for the leader of that party, who will then become the Prime Minister. So this is not the people voting for a Prime Minister. In Thailand, the winning party, if they get over 50% of the vote, can nominate a Prime Minister, and that person will become the Prime Minister of Thailand. That is very, very rare to happen these days because there's so many political parties. So if there's less than 50%, if no party gets 50% of the vote, the Parliament can have a whole lot of outside nominations nominated by the various parties, and they can then be put up to a vote of the two houses of Parliament, which is how the current Prime Minister in suspension, Prayut Chan-o-cha, became the Prime Minister of Thailand as an outsider nominated by the Palang Pracharat Party to represent them, and he was voted in by the two houses of Parliament. He's never been voted in by the people as an MP. The provincial governors are all nominated by the central government. None of them are voted in, except for Bangkok. Bangkok votes for their governor, then every other province in Thailand, the other 76 provinces, all have their governor nominated by the central government. There's usually a pack of them, and every 2 years they rotate around to a different province. Any relation to Bert, says Wah Pum, the late great Bert Newton. No relation to Bert Newton. I remember I grew up watching Bert Newton. He was a Melbourne TV personality, sort of became much better known around Australia later in his life with some of his other programs. Came to be known well on a program called IMT in Melbourne Tonight with Graham Kennedy. He and Graham had a special on-screen relationship, and then Bert was able to take that relationship on with another host of a Tonight show called Don Lane, and he set up another great relationship. He was sort of the fall guy. He was the guy that let both Don and Graham have the punchline. If in an American way, he was the Ed McMahon to the Johnny Carson, and he was a great man, very talented, fastest wit in the world, and certainly enjoyed him, and very sad to lose him this year. The late great Bert Newton. No relation at all. Look, that's it. I've sort of come to the end. I still watch Jet, but I unsubscribed. I watch Jet occasionally. Moonface, yeah, his nickname was Moonface. Had a big round face. Tim, where do you go for vacation? Do you know what? I live on one of the nicest tropical islands in the world. And I say that because there are parts that are overdeveloped in Phuket, but I can still go to a beach, even now, while it's raining, and I can go to a beach and not see another person for the whole day. The island's surrounded by beautiful beaches, some 33 beaches. I can also go to a number of islands, some 30 islands around Phuket, all within about an hour, and find some beautiful beaches. I live in a really beautiful part of the world, and I'm very lucky that I can do that. I do intend going to Greece. I intend going to Croatia. I intend going to India, to one very specific part of India, in the next couple of years. So that's where I'll be doing my next short-term breaks. But I suppose I try and make every day a holiday in some way. I'm lucky that I love what I do. I love talking to you. And if I can earn a living doing this, then I consider myself the luckiest man in the world. One more thing. Will the quality of life drop off a cliff in Thailand when the Chinese tourists come back to Thailand, says Dark Brother? Why would it? When the Chinese tourists come back to Thailand, it will benefit a lot of Thais whose businesses have closed down because there aren't enough tourists. Thailand will never get back to the tourist numbers it used to have without the Chinese tourists. It's as simple as that. Now, with China having a very difficult financial situation in front of them, we're not going to see the return of the huge number of Chinese tourists that we're used to. So that's not good for the Thais generally, who were making a lot of money from Chinese tourists on a per day basis. Remember, the Chinese used to spend, on average, more than any other nationality in the world on a per day. They're a really loud guy. On a day-to-day basis, on a trip basis, other countries stay for a lot longer, but the Chinese used to stay for only 2 or 3 days. And on a per day basis, per diem, they spent more than any other nationality. So the Thais want them back, and they want them back soon. But they're not going to be coming back in the numbers. They've got huge problems in China, not only with the collapse of their property market, but a lot of other big problems, apart from their absurd zero COVID policy, whereby there could be 2 or 3 cases in a city and they close the whole city of 10 or 20 million people down. So yeah, that's not going to be good for Thailand. But Thailand's better having the Chinese tourists coming here. There's no doubt about that. Michael says, thanks, Tim. Michael, thank you for watching too. And John the accountant, I hope the tourism never reaches 2019 levels. I think you're right there, John. The ecology of Thailand has improved with the lack over the past 2 years. Yeah, I would say that, yeah, we need a balance between the huge numbers we had in, say, 2019 and some sort of sustainable industry. And a lot of people looking forward to a more sustainable Thai tourism industry in the future. And that means that we're going to have to look further afield and try and find some different nationalities and not put all our eggs in one basket, and try and see if we can cover as many nationalities and make it a palatable and interesting place for them to visit. In many visits to Thailand, I've never felt a need to own a car, says Dark Brother. Why do so many expats feel a need to buy their own car that ends up sitting in the garage mostly? Look, it depends entirely on you. I mean, I need my car. You need a car. On a day like today, are you going to get a Grab taxi or a taxi? If you live in Phuket, that's very expensive. Less so in Bangkok. You don't need a car in Bangkok. Living here in Phuket, I believe you need a car and a motorcycle. And when the sun's out, I'll use my motorcycle for anything up to 1 or 2 kilometres, and then I'm using the car for anything beyond that. You don't have to have a car, but certainly it just makes life a little bit easier if you do have one. And from that, and at that point, having answered all the questions from yesterday, answered as many questions as I could from the chat, I thank you very much for joining us over the past hour. Thank you to the new sponsor, 5 Star Marine, who are sponsoring the Tim Newton Today program, Mondays to Fridays. And if you are coming to Phuket, make sure you look up 5starmarinephuket.com. That's the number 5, and you'll get a very pleasant trip out to an island of your choice. But subscribe to the channel. What else do I have to tell you? As you can see, there's a lot of people here now making a lot more noise. But good to see them busy here. I'm going to enjoy my glass of water. Hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll be back on Monday, and thank you very much for being here for the past hour. Cheers.